Hi everyone! Welcome back to Ann Design Craft channel. In our last video, we crocheted Bingo. And today, we're bringing in her best buddy, Bluey. This pattern has a few key differences, which in the body, to capture Bluey's unique look. I'll walk you through each step so you can see exactly what makes Bluey stand out. Grab your yarn and hooks, and let's complete this dynamic duo. Here are the tools you'll need for this video: 4-ply cotton yarn, a 3mm crochet hook, a needle, and a pair of scissors. A triangle-shaped nose bead about 8mm and an oval-shaped eye bead about 5mm. You can use a bigger size if you have larger eye beads. It will look cuter and more adorable. Let's start crocheting from the body. Use dark blue yarn and begin with a chain of 6 stitches. For round 1, start with 1 chain. Then insert the hook into the back bump of the chain. Do 1 increase. Here, I recommend using the X stitch rather than the V stitch so that your crochet will not slant to the right. For more information, please watch my previous video about avoiding slant stitches. Place a marker in the first stitch in every round, followed by 4 single crochets. In the last stitch, do 3 single crochets in 1 stitch. Then, do 5 single crochets in both loops. Once you finish the round, do a slip stitch into the first stitch, then make a chain to start the next round. I highly recommend using a slip stitch to end each round, as Bingo's body has 2 colors. In round 2, do 2 increases. Here is the loop you insert your first stitch in round 2. then 4 single crochets. Next, do 3 increases. Followed by 4 single crochets. In the last stitch, do 1 increase. You should have a total of 20 stitches. When you finish a round, make sure to do a slip stitch in the first stitch to close it off, then chain 1 to start the next round. In round 3, do 1 increase. Followed by 1 single crochet, and repeat this sequence 1 more time. Then, do 4 single crochets, next, do 1 increase followed by 1 single crochet, and repeat this sequence 3 times. After that, do 4 single crochets. Do 1 increase and finish with 1 single crochet. You should have a total of 26 stitches. In round 4, do 2 single crochet and followed by 1 increase. And repeat this sequence 1 more time. Then, we need to change blue yarn to do next 4 single crochets. Here's how I change yarn. Insert the hook into both loops of the previous single crochet, then grab the new yarn, yarn over, and pull through. Continue with a single crochet. Then leave the dark blue yarn off the hook. Then, you can continue crocheting the next 3 single crochets. Switch back to dark blue yarn. Next, do 2 single crochet and followed by 1 increase, and repeat this sequence 3 times. After that, do 6 single crochets. Finish with 1 increase. You should have a total of 32 stitches. In rounds 5 to 10, you'll be working with 2 colors, dark blue yarn and blue yarn. Start each round by doing 8 single crochets with the dark orange yarn. Then, switch to blue yarn and do 4 single crochets. After that, switch back to the dark blue yarn and continue with 20 single crochets to complete the round. By the end of each round, you should have a total of 32 stitches. In round 11, we need to alternate between the 2 colors to create a flat line at the color change. Yarn over and pull through with the blue yarn to make a chain. Pull both yarn tails tightly to make the knot smaller. First, insert the hook into both loops, yarn over, and pull through with the dark blue yarn. Switch hand to hold the dark blue yarn. Yarn over with the blue yarn, and pull through to complete 1 single crochet. Repeat this step for every single crochet in this round. When you reach the middle part, just use blue yarn to crochet 4 single crochet. Switch to dark blue yarn after 4 single crochets. Continue this process until the end of the round. In round 12 to 13, single crochet in every stitches until end. By the end of each round, you should have a total of 32 stitches. In round 14, start with 26 single crochet. Then switch to dark blue yarn. Do 1 single crochet. Switch back to blue yarn, do 5 single crochet. In round 15, do single crochet in every stitch till end. In round 16, start with 7 single crochets using blue yarn. Then switch to light blue for the front tummy, and do 6 single crochets. After that, switch back to the blue yarn and do 10 single crochets. Next, switch to the dark blue yarn and do 1 single crochets. Switch back to the blue yarn and do 3 single crochets. switch to the dark blue yarn again and do 1 single crochets. Finally, switch back to the blue yarn and do 4 single crochets. In the following round, just follow the written pattern. In round 22, we will start to decrease. Begin with 2 single crochets. Followed by 1 decrease. Here, I show the way to do the invisible decrease. Inserting your hook into the front loop of the first stitch you want to decrease. Then insert your hook into the front loop of the second stitch. Yarn over and pull through all the both front loops on your hook. Yarn over again and pull through both loops on your hook to complete the invisible decrease, and then 2 single crochets. Switch to light blue yarn and do 1 decrease. Followed by 6 single crochets. Then switch back to blue yarn and repeat this sequence. 1 decrease followed by 2 single crochets, repeating this 3 times. After that, do 4 single crochets and finish with 1 decrease. You should have a total of 26 stitches. In the following round, just follow the written pattern. Now it's time to fill your piece with polyester fiber. Cut the leftover yarn and close the hole in a flat line. If your stitches are twisting to the right, it means that the way you're pulling out the yarn is also to the right. You might want to check out my previous video on how to avoid twisting stitches for more information and tips on correcting this issue. I will share the link in the description. Next, we crochet the nose. Make a knot in a magic ring and do 6 single crochets into it. When you finish a round, make sure to do a slip stitch in the first stitch to close it off, then chain 1 to start the next round. You need to repeat this at the end and start of every round to keep things nice and neat. In round 1, make an increase in every stitch until the end. You should have a total of 12 stitches. In the following round, just follow the written pattern. Here the nose is complete. Next, we'll crochet the legs. Start with 3 chains. In round 1, start with 1 chain. Then insert the hook into the back bump and do 1 increase. Followed by 1 single crochet. In the last chain, do 3 single crochets in 1 stitch. Then, insert the hook into both loops of the chain and do 2 single crochets. Finish with 1 slip stitch in the first stitch. You should have a total of 8 stitches. In round 2, do 3 single crochets. followed by 3 half double crochet increases. Then do 2 single crochets. You should have a total of 11 stitches. In round 3, do 3 single crochets. Followed by 3 half double crochet decreases. Then do 2 single crochets. You should have a total of 8 stitches. In round 4, start with 3 single crochet. Then do 1 decrease. Then do 3 single crochet. You have total 7 stitches. In round 5, do single crochet in every stitch. In rounds 6 to 10, change to blue yarn. And do single crochets in every stitch until the end of the rounds. Do the other leg using the same pattern. The legs are now complete. Here is the pattern for the remaining parts of Bluey. When all the parts are done, let's join them together. Secure the nose bead and use black yarn, sew a mouth shape between round 3 to 4. Then fill in polyester until it's fully fill. Sew the nose in the middle, around rounds 10 to 11. Secure the eye on the white part of the eye. Before you sew it onto Bluey's face, place it between rounds 5 and 10, leaving 2 stitches between both eyes. Sew the eyebrow above the eye on round 4. Next, sew the inner ear onto the ear, and then sew the ear onto the top of the head. Sew the hands onto round 13 on each side of the body. Sew the tail on round 22. Then, sew the legs onto the last round at the bottom. Here you have done your bingo. Thanks for joining me in this crochet adventure. I hope you enjoyed making bingo from Bluey as much as I did. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more fun crochet tutorials. And I'll see you in the next video.